Good morning, everyone. We hope that Europe, the weather around Europe is nice. Here in Paris, we have around 0 degrees, cloudy, and in the afternoon, we are expecting some rain and probably maybe even some snow, which is quite rare for Paris. So welcome to our second info session for the call for action planning networks, the first call in URBACT 4. So last Tuesday, so 2 days ago, we had a first info session where we explained and presented the call for action planning network in a nutshell. So all the aspects of the call were presented. And today, at this session, we are going to focus on how to build a strong partnership for the network. So maybe just some main elements to recall from the first webinar. So URBACT is European Territorial Development Program, cooperation program, co-funded by the ERDF, the European Regional Development Fund. And we exist since 2002, so 20 years already. And within this time, we have involved more than 1,000 cities across Europe, which were connected within different networks, and they were all working on sustainable urban development in their respective cities. So URBACT promotes the sustainable urban development in cities. In this regard, we have now this call for action planning networks, which is the offer for all the cities in Europe and the IPA countries, the pre-accession countries, and just some few features around what this call is about. So in Action Plan Network, you can get inspired by other cities in Europe around the policy challenge that you are tackling and the things you are working on. You will be able to develop actions and develop and design actions into response to your local challenges. And by doing this, you will be strengthening your skills in participatory and integrated policy making. So it's all about participatory and integrated policy making. And finally, you will make some changes in the way how city is managed. It's open to all the teams, policy challenges, and in the terms of references, you have details around how, in which way this needs to be in line with the EU cohesion policy objectives and specific objectives related to those. So key expected result in action plan networks is the integrated action plan being a concrete response with intervention logic based on testing, and finally also linked to cohesion policy funds for long-term implementation. To recall on the most important reference documents, the terms of reference sets out all the elements and of course references related to the call. We have also designed a guide for applicants, which gives you some hints and tips how to develop your project proposals. And program manual is basically the Bible of the URBACT 4 program, where you can find all the details around the functioning, the operations for the partnership, for the network, different functions that URBACT does. And of course, we have a dedicated web page, Get Involved, including the frequently asked questions. So don't hesitate to go there because it's very useful. It can be very useful for you. And just quickly to set up a tone for this focus today, as already said, we will focus on how to build a strong partnership. And we have presented this step-by-step journey in the first webinar and presented as a safe space for you. So today, I would just like to maybe emphasize more on this first step, which is called the activation step. And this is the first 6 months of the journey, where all the approved networks will be designing and customizing the methodology for network exchange and learning, which will happen then in the later stages, the planning actions and preparing implementation. And within activation stage, also all the partners will be setting up the respective URBAC local groups in their cities to get started with the works. But also very important dimension of this activation stage, in addition to the development of the network, further development in addition to application form, is the consolidation of partnership. So it is important to say that I think you see there the traffic light. The traffic light actually presents that at the end of this activation stage, assessors that will be assessing your application form will again check the network roadmaps, which will be done based on the baseline study, and will give a green light or a red light to the network. Based on how, if the network developed the methodology well, and that we are sure that this partnership will function well in the following stages. So that's why already in the application stage, it's very important that you find strong partnership. I mean, find adequate partners and build a strong partnership. Okay, and now let's focus on building a strong partnership. Content. Just before we start, I would like to let you know that we'll have 2 rounds of questions. And first, we'll focus more on some technical details around composition of partnership. Then we'll give you some hints and tips around what needs to be checked. And after each of those parts, we'll have question rounds, and everyone is invited to use Q and questions icon that you see in your window. And this Q and questions and answer icon enables you to ask questions. We'll be able in this round of questions to check those questions. In the meantime, we'll be also able to respond to some of your questions, and you can also check questions during our presentation and like specific questions that you deem relevant for you, or that correspond also to your questions, so that we don't have repeating questions. You can just like the question that you see. So you are very much welcome to use this tool, use this icon and ask questions, and then during the round of questions, we'll respond to them. Okay, so I invite my colleague Francesca now on board. I see you are already there. So
yes.
To present us the first part of the presentation.
Yes, thank you, Chris. Hi, everyone, and good morning. Before we move to the second part, let's say, of the presentation, we would like to ask you briefly a question. And we would like to know from you in which stage are you of building a partnership, which is the focus of today's webinar. So a poll should just pop up on your screen, and if you want to vote one of the answers to give us, like, this will help us to get an idea where the different eventual future projects are in building a partnership. So you're answering. Almost 80 people are participating to the pool. We have today more than 130 participants. So let's wait that also other people give us their answer. But for the moment, the majority is saying that they didn't start yet with the preparation of the partnership, which is okay, and it means that the webinar today is of particular interest for all of you to understand the details and the technicalities of building a partnership. We have almost 22 people who said they are just starting with that. That's great. That's nice to see that some people are already at work. Also, 12 people said that they would like to apply for a project, but they're looking for partners, if I understand the answer right. this is also for us very important to know. We will come to this point later, like to see how you can find partners that will join you in a network.
Yeah, the lead partners. Yeah.
Lead partners. Okay.
Yeah, the network. Okay, we can move.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. So, because we're talking about partnership today, let's have a moment where we look at the composition of partnership. So first of all, the network will be composed mainly by cities from all the 27 EU member states, but also from the 2 partner states, Switzerland and Norway, and new to URBACT 4, also cities from the countries' instruments for accession assistance. The so-called IPA countries can participate. Those are Albania, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Montenegro, North Macedonia, and Serbia. A network will have to have between 8 and 10 partners, of which one has to be a lead partner. Like when you create a network, a partnership, one of you has to apply as a lead partner. Let's have now a look at the details of this role. What is a lead partner? What are the responsibilities? So a lead partner is like a key actor of an action planning network. The responsibility of this partner are mainly to manage the network, to coordinate activities on transnational level between all the other partners, and to coordinate implementation of the partnership work. Also very important to know is that the lead partner has financial and legal responsibility and liability for the whole partnership towards the managing authority. And because we are in the application phase, it's very important for you to note that the lead partner is the partner that will complete and submit the application form and all the requested document to us, to the URBACT Secretariat. If you can move, exactly. So a lot of responsibilities and because of this, we really recommend that enough human resources are allocated and are dedicated to the lead partner in order to fulfill all these requirements. So we, in terms of human resources, in practical terms, we strongly recommend to create positions of the equivalent of 2 full-time positions. How the roles and the position are distributed, it's flexible, but we really recommend that you have enough staff for the fulfillment of the requirements. And our recommendation is to create a project coordinator post, a full-time post, and also a finance officer position, normally a half-time post, and a communication officer position as well of a post of half-time. This is, of course, a recommendation, but it's very important to keep in mind because, as we've seen, lead partner has a lot of work and needs adequate human resources. If we move on, now I just wanted to remember that even though the lead partner has all these responsibilities, this doesn't mean the other partners don't have to contribute to that work, and especially relates to remember that each partner is liable for financial management at its own expenditure. So if the lead partner has the financial responsibility of the whole network, each partner of the network has the responsibility to take care of the finance management of its own expenditures. And this also requires work and requires dedication. And for these reasons, we actually also recommend to each partner to to create a dedicated position of the equivalent of a full-time post, and the roles that we recommend to keep in mind in the creation of this of a staff at the partner level are a role as project coordinator and a role as finance officer. Project coordinator, both could be half-time positions. Again, this is our recommendation, and we say it here just to keep in mind that it's not just the lead partner that has some work to do at the network level. And if we move on now, coming back to the partnership and to the general view of the partnership, who are the beneficiaries of our program? Who can be part of a network? As we already said, a beneficiary of an action planning network can be institutions from the 27 EU member states, from the 2 partner states, Switzerland and Norway, from the countries called Instruments for Accession Assistance, these 5 countries, Albania, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, North Macedonia, and Serbia, and other countries, but in this case, then the participants have to take part of this journey at their own cost. In the case of the IPA countries, because this is a novelty, is something new to the URBAC program, please, if you're coming from one of those countries and you're interested in participating, check carefully if the legal framework of your own country is fully set yet. In case you have some doubts, write to us. We will see later to which email address you can write for this question and for many others. So to the aspect of beneficiaries, we categorize our beneficiaries into 2 groups. There are the beneficiaries called cities, and for us, cities are, of course, cities, municipalities, and towns. These because every city, regardless of its population size, can participate. A city for us is also a local agency, public or semi-public, doesn't matter the legal status, but set up by a city. Can be an intra-municipal government body and also a metropolitan authority. While on the other side, non-cities are for us university and research centers, provincial and regional authorities, and managing authorities. If we move on to this next slide, please, then this is a lot of text. We will send you the slides, so you will have access to these slides. So we add these this quite legal and bureaucratic slides because it's important to have a check to it, but do it in calm when you have access to the slides. This is about the definition of a public body. So following the EU public procurement law, a public body is any legal body governed by public or private laws, and then 3 other criteria that define who is a public body. And this is important when you have doubts regarding your eligibility as a partner. So I don't go into details because you will have access to the slides and you can check whenever you need this text, or also ask us, write to us and ask us and share with us your doubts. Who can be a lead partner? We have seen before what is a lead partner. Now let's check who of you can actually apply as a lead partner. So only beneficiaries defined as cities, following the definition we shared before, can apply and can be lead partner. And moreover, only cities from the 27 EU member states and from the partner states, Switzerland and Norway, can be lead partner. Also, when you apply as a lead partner, in case, for example, your city is participating to 2 networks, we will see later this is possible, you can actually be lead partner only in one urban network. So you can participate in 2, but as lead partners, if this is your interest, you can be lead partner only of one proposal. To the next slide, please. Regarding cities and non-cities beneficiaries, what is called non-cities, what we define as non-cities, as we have seen, can be a beneficiary, can participate in a partnership, and per network, 2 non-city partners are allowed. Moreover, a beneficiary can be part, as I just mentioned, of 2 networks, but this is really the limit. So you can participate to this call and be within 2 proposals, and you can be accepted for both, but you can really participate just in 2 networks. We have seen, in case you're interested in being a lead partner and you're participating in 2 networks, you can actually be lead partner only of one. And just to repeat, so lead partners can be cities only from the 27 EU member states and from the partner countries. Now, a partnership has to include 7 partners from 7 different countries. It will be more clear now with the next slides. If we move to the next slide. Exactly. So we have said a partnership is composed of 8 to 10 partners. We say now that a network has to have at least 7 partners from different countries. Because for us, it's very important that every network respects some criteria of diversity. But now on the balance, every partnership has to have 70% of its partners have to come from less developed regions and regions in transition, while 30% can be beneficiaries from more developed regions. In this calculation, actually, we consider only partners from EU countries. So this means if a partnership, for example, has 8 partners, of which one is a city from one of the 5 IPA countries that we have seen before. Let's say, for example, Albania is one of these 5 countries. So we have a network of 8 partners, of which one is a city from Albania. This partner is not included in the calculation that we do to see if your network respects the partnership balance. So we consider the network has a network of 7 partners, of which 70% have to come from less developed regions or regions in transition, which makes 5 partners of these 7 have to come from less developed regions or regions in transition. Yeah, there are other examples on these slides, just for you to it's just to translate a bit more practical terms this partnership balance that can always create some doubts. Regarding the definition of the regions and their categorizations into more developed, less developed, or in transition, you can see it's based on this map, which is actually a categorization made by European Commission. We included a link to the list of to this map and to the list of categorizations. So when you have the slides, you will have access to the link as well. And then you can check to which region does your city or non-city belong. I would say we make a break here. We take a first round of questions. We can start to check in the Q&A.
We'll have now a round of questions around those eligibility issues, who is eligible, beneficiaries, the balance of partnerships, the composition, the roles. So you are invited to use the Q&A. In the meantime, we already received a few questions, and our colleague has already responded to some. So we will be also responding to those questions directly. So there were some questions around staff appointments regarding the project partners. So it was already responded that how this must be done, which is related to the overall budget and the percentage it can be spent regarding this. Then another question was around, again, around spending. And it was also responded. So you can just open those questions and check the responses in the meantime. We don't have a response. Are the IAP countries considered as less developed countries? I think we responded that just before. So no, they're not counted in the EU regions count. So when we made this mathematical example. Can a city council lead a network and a public? Can a city council lead a network and a public agency linked to? Well, where did it go? To the same city lead Can a city council lead a network and a public agency linked to the same city lead a different network? Probably because it would be two different institutions. But it's the same city, so it's a tricky question, but it's two different entities probably. So probably it's possible, but it's better to send us a question so that we can see what is the difference between those two. And if it's strongly linked to the city, then probably it's not possible. So it's better to send us the details.
I will share now in the chat the email address to which you can write. It's our email address, and you can write their doubts and questions that we don't manage to answer or clarify in this webinar.
So PPT PowerPoint will be shared on the website. Yes, so that's okay. To be on the safe side, do non-city partners shall come from EU 27 countries, and they count with regards on the, yes, as we explained. So non-city partners are also counted as city partners coming from EU member states. So this is the balance it needs to be considered. As an IPA country, how many times can we apply in networks? So it's not related to the country, it's related to the city from that country. And as we said, you can be a partner in two different networks at a time, if approved, of course. If we participate in two networks, in one as a lead partner and in one as a partner, can the administrative and financial work be managed by the same person for both networks? So this is possible, of course, because it depends of the city, it depends of the organization, the size of the administration. So you can have a European department which takes care of more administrative and financial issues, but probably more content issues. The URBAC local group work would not be shared probably, because maybe it will be two different policy challenges, but also it can be, those policy challenges can also be linked. So it really depends. So yes, it is possible. Francesca, you want to continue with some of the questions maybe? Is there any question that is maybe outstanding?
I'm seeing there is another question on non-cities partners. What are the requirements for non-city partners? Can be network 1, 2 cities and 1 regional authority from 1 country. Thank you. I'm not sure I understand the question, but as we said, for non-cities partners, like non-cities partners can also participate to max 2 networks. Like the same non-city partner can participate to max 2 networks. This limitation is valid for cities as well as for non-cities beneficiaries. Then we have, if the budget of an IPA partner, if the budget of an IPA partner is part of the 850,000 total budget.
Yes,
exactly.
It is a total network budget. So this is the total network budget. And then, of course, the co-financing within is either coming from ERDF for the European member cities from the European Union, or the IPA funds from the cities from the IPA countries. But the co-financing is included within this budget. I have seen another one, Francesca, which was from Munich, I think. How is the limitation of 2 projects? 1 lead counted. I'm working for the city administration. We might apply for 2 projects. However, another not related institution like a university from Munich is applying as well. Does that work? In this case, yes, because university is not the same as a city administration. It's a non-city partner. You would be a city partner as a city administration of Munich. So it's 2 different entities. So in this case, it's very clear that even though it's from the same, let's say, city, it's a different entity. And we have also seen, okay, thanks, great. Severine Bressot, she also had a question, but I think it was also already answered. It was related to the region in France. So thank you, Virginie, who responded. It is indeed like that. Okay, what else? Did we skip any? I'm not sure. If we participated, that's okay. That's okay. Another. So I'm trying just to clean those that we responded already. Does the value of the co-financing include VAT or not? VAT, so the tax. Is the VAT eligible for the IIP countries? I mean, VAT is, I mean, it's a very specific question. In my understanding, we're not working with VAT here, but VATs are included in costs and so on. So depending on what you will be spending. So VAT, of course, is included in this because we have different VATs in different countries, and costs related to those will have VATs integrated within. So that would probably mean that it is integrated inside. So it is included. This is then done. 1 to 2 cities. What are the requirements for non-city partners? Can be in network 1 to 2 cities and 1 regional authority from 1 country. Can be network 1 to 2 cities. I'm not really clear what does it mean to have 1 to 2 cities and 1 regional authority, but let's say you would like to have in a network a regional authority from 1 country. So as we said, up to 2 non-city partners can be involved in the composition of partnership. So yes, regional authorities can be part of the partnership, but up to 2 per network. Do you see any other, Francesca, maybe?
Yes, one question regarding private companies, if they are eligible for partnerships. So the answer is no, but if the work of this private company is of public interest, if there are a few others criteria that you could fulfill, in order to then be considered eligible. This is like the slide that I was showing quickly before with this legal text. So maybe you have again a look at that when you have the slides, and if the question, if your doubt is still not clarified, then write us on email address that I just shared in the chat, abn@urbag.eu. With some details on your legal status, and we will check specifically for your case if you're eligible or not. But
yes,
in general, private companies are not eligible.
And yes, thank you, Francesca. And we also had a response, direct response from Adele, that only public bodies are eligible. And we also shown this slide, if you remember, on what exactly we mean by public body, public interest. It can be ruled by different laws, but it needs to be in public interest. So as Francesca said, send us status and we can check it. And I think we had another one that was first one actually, but was put into the answered. So it is from Perifleur Marie Ebege. Sorry, but in any case, so the activation stage is similar to last call, and there will be a second selection, right? This means that not all applications making it through to the activation stage will continue with the project. Correct. So it is similar to what we had in the past. In the past, we had two different administrative phases. Phase one, the development phase, which corresponds to the activation stage now, and then the phase two, which was the actual implementation then of the project. We have eliminated the administrative cut in the middle to have two different administrative phases, because it was not practical for beneficiaries. And we kept still the development phase, which is very important to further develop and consolidate partnership in this phase. So basically, we won't have another application form to submit as we had in the past. We will only be assessing the baseline study process, which will be reflected in the network roadmap as a product at the end. And this network roadmap will be checked by assessors, the same assessors that assess the projects, and will give a green light to continue. So it can happen that if the quality is not, that we are not, let's say, confident that the quality of network is sufficient, then it might happen that the project does not continue into the following stage. Hopefully that's answered. And maybe we can have one more, Francesca, if there is any more, and then we continue with the second part of the project. Is there any new?
Yes. So if during the activation stage there is a problem with, for example, one partner, is it possible to change it? So what does consolidation of the partnership mean?
Yes, consolidation of the partnership means that you come with the proposed partnership. Let's say you have 8 partners. It might happen that during the 6 months in the activation stage, something will happen with some of the partners, or maybe let's say one partner, there's a high possibility that they drop out because the network is really not what they expected, even though these things need to be already checked before. So they drop out. This means that you end up with 7 partners. So you would need to find a new partner within this stage. So our second part is about that. So having maybe a reserve list of shortlisted candidates that you in this process of project proposal, I mean the call. So you can find new partners. They can join, and then they would be part of the network from that date on. And even let's say if you have 10 partners at the beginning, somebody drops out. This means that basically, if you are within 8, you don't need to replace them, but you can also replace them if you want. So those minimum changes can be still done. So in the activation stage. So this means the consolidation of partnership. So either it stays as it is, either there is a change, either there is a dropout. So but in minimum numbers, of course.
Yeah.
We would like to make sure, already that you, in this stage of the process, try to find the most adequate partners. And maybe the second part now, and we can move on with this one, will give you some more information on how to ensure that. So we move on now with the second part of the presentation. Then we have another round of questions. So essential considerations in partner search. So first thing to keep in mind is the assessment criteria. In the terms of references, you have the assessment criteria outlined, and all the criteria are there. And criterion 3, quality and relevance of partnership is it has the highest weighting. It has 35% of weight. So this means that this is the most important criterion. That's why we also made this focus immediately at the beginning, because this is really the key for a successful network, the partnership. So let's see now what are those different criteria that assessors will look like when checking network proposals. So let's start from the right. So from the left, probably it's left on your side. Policy challenge is the first thing, of course, needs to be shared among different partners. Common denominators need to be clear with topics that will be tackled. So policy challenge is the first. Geographical mix for the partnership needs to be well balanced, not only in terms of those percentages that we showed, less transition and more developed regions, but also making sure that there is a pure geographical balance covered. So meaning cities from Northern Europe with Southern Europe, Eastern, Southeastern, Central, and Western. So trying to have really a nice geographical composition, that's also very important, in addition to those regions. Third one, partners' strategic environment. That's key, because this means that partners have been already starting working on, or at least have, let's say, a strategy on, let's say, sustainable urban development as a general. But if the policy challenge is more focused, let's say mobility, partner strategic environment, they already have something in place before that will enable them to work on this specific policy challenge. So this is very important in this sense for fruitful exchange, of course. The fourth one, link with urban dimension of the EU cohesion policy. That's another dimension that is very important, because we are in the framework of European Union's cohesion policy with specific policy objectives and specific objectives related to those policy objectives. So check this out. In the terms of reference, you have the link to that site, even in the guide, I think. So check those, but probably those links are already done, because more or less, because EU member states are already in this process of funds and so on. So this is probably okay. For IPA countries, cities from IPA countries, this might be also checked. So those strategic framework is maybe more important there. The fifth one is the motivation and ability to undertake the activities. This is related to what Francesca was saying about, staff, and not only staff, but also political motivation, political commitment that this policy challenge is a priority in the city, so that you will have support also from the council and political level decision makers that those policies and actions that you will create will be implemented later. And then the second batch of criterion, so the added value and potential for change. This is one of the keys, I would say. URBACT really needs to present a right, let's say, tool for you to join in order to build your capacity to make to improve the ways how you work in your city. So if you're a newcomer, let's say, or if you don't have very if you don't let's say have a lot of experience around integrated participatory approaches, then URBACT will really enable you to achieve the added value and have a big change. But it is not only for newcomers, it's also for those who are more experienced. So there's always space for improvement. So this improvement and potential for change and what is going to be changed after URBACT experience needs to be shown and demonstrated. So the utility of URBACT action planning network as such. The second one, identified stakeholders to be involved. That's very much linked to what will happen on the ground at local level. It's very important that those are relevant for the policy challenge that will be tackled. So this thinking has to be already done at this point. Next one is potential to fund actions. So this is linked to either local resources or let's say budgets that were already defined for this particular type of policy, but it's also linked to maybe to the managing authorities at national level that have created already published, the future orientations. So this potential to find actions is important. So it's relevant to different types of funding. Fourth one, the appointed local project and urban local group coordinator. This is also something that is required in the application form. It asks each partner who would that person be, so that it's the adequate person, or even just to show the understanding of what means to be URBACT local group coordinator. And those things are explained in the guide. And please check the guide to see what it means to have an URBACT local group and to coordinate the URBACT local group, and how this team needs to be set up. There's also links in the guide for further guidance related to this regard. And the last one, it makes sense for cities to work together, which is basically linked to complementarities between partners. This is the key. There needs to be complementarities well identified, related to similar needs, but also experiences, so that there is a good give and take, let's say, optimization of knowledge. And finally, also practices that have already been carried out or that are proposed, so for exchange and learning between partners. So complementarity needs to be identified. That's it regarding that. Very important part of the partnership building. Let's see how you can achieve to get those partners on board. So we suggested to draft a questionnaire. So check those criteria, check the application form, outline requirements, and draft a questionnaire. We have provided in the guide the example of questionnaire. We have put there a simple one, but also more thorough one. The link is there, so you can be inspired by this questionnaire. It was from a previous project, so you need to adapt it to correspond to your needs. Test responsiveness when you are contacted by partners. Check this as well. This is also a sign of which partners are quick to respond and so on. Third one, really based on those questionnaires, try to analyze profiles well, so commitment, motivation, needs, and the added value related to those criteria that were described before. Gather a short list of partner candidates. That's very important to have maybe a short list of 20 or 15, let's say it's enough. And then finally, you make a final selection of the most, those who you think are the best for the network proposal. And of course, I think this was also mentioned in the one of the questions, keep the reserve in case of last minute dropouts. This can happen already in the application process, but also then in activation stage, if your network is approved, it can be very useful to have this reserve list. And again, just keep in mind the eligibility. So lead partners can be only proposing one network. So if 2 network proposals will be done, one will need to go out. So be aware of that. But of course, they can be a project partner in another network. And also regarding the partners, they can be, when the networks are approved, they can be project partners only in 2 approved networks. So please check with partners that are interested in your team, if you're a lead partner, of course, but also partners need to be aware of that. Please try to go for those who are really the most, let's say, proposals that you think are the most relevant for you. Try to select, minimize, don't go for 10 of them, because that doesn't make sense. Please really try to select which are the most important. So those multiple commitments should be avoided in general. And also it's weird if you're committed to 10 different projects, even though they are maybe linked to the same, but it's really important to select who you think is the best. Also, if you're a partner, to be also picky if needed. And then finally, this is related to what I already said before, test the commitment. That's very important, because this is the key, you know, partners really need to have this genuine need to join Airbag, because they would like to learn, they would like to know how to design policies in integrated and participatory way. They would like to learn how to engage stakeholders. So check this commitment, see if this commitment is really genuine. And just, of course, in guide, you have some hints and tips around that as well. So don't hesitate to check the guide. Again, just to recall how this submission procedure is done. So first, it's about submitting application form, which needs to be submitted by the 31st of March. But the second part is also the application package, which is just on Monday after Friday submission. And this is important because you need to gather the signed letters of commitment by all partners. So you need to have those already ready before. And that can be a problem if you don't have it for the submission application package. So try to gather those as quickly as possible during March. Just a quick reminder on our partner search tool. We have already presented that one. And
Yes.
And don't hesitate to reach out your national Airbag points. We have put in this slide the contact details, and you can find the contact details. Questions time. Francesca, did you have time to check if there are any questions appearing in the meantime?
Yes, I mean, we are answering. There are already some answers. There is one question that hasn't been answered yet. Which project topics, thematic angles have been shown to be the most successful in the past?
I mean, I don't think the thematic angles are the most important for this. The angle as such, which policy challenge and so on, theme. It's not about that. It's more about that the thematic challenge is focused, it's well defined, and is narrow enough so that it's concrete, that you can make it concrete. In the past, we have seen that proposals, network proposals with wide thematic policy challenge defined, were not successful because it was just too wide, not enough focused. So it's really important that there is a clear focus, and you can maybe try to see if you have enough focus by trying to put it in not in an intervention logic, but make it place-based, or try to put it in practice. Like, try just to imagine, can you put that in practice somehow? So it needs to be focused. That's the right thinking for the successful policy challenges.
Yeah, and that is policy challenge relevant for your own local context. Of course, this is a factor that increases success probabilities, and also, has Chris mentioned before, political support. If you really find the policy challenge that gets the political support at local level, this will increase your success. We have a question on Union of Municipalities. Can this be a partner? Has our colleagues already answered? Depends from which country you come from. So please send us an email at ipn@urbac.eu explaining from which country you come from, and then we will tell you if it's eligible, and either as a city partner or as a non-city partner. We have some expression of interest here. Someone from Bosnia and Herzegovina says they're interested in participating. That's very nice to read. It is necessary to add support letters from organizations that are not partners but will be involved in action planning network. This also already has been answered, but let's maybe say it for everyone else. The support letters are, they should just, they're necessary from the lead partner and the project partners organization. Then,
yeah, I don't see any new questions actually. And also others were responded. So maybe we can see if you have questions. So please don't hesitate to write a new one in the Q&A. We still have 2 more minutes to respond. Otherwise, as we said, and we can already invite you. Please check, the Get Involved page on URBACT website, where you will find all the useful documents. We have also shared the contact apn@urbac.eu if you don't find anywhere the answer. Mm-hmm. And Francesca, you wanted to say something?
So we got a question, yeah, and refers to the ULG. Can local stakeholders get a part of the budget, and if so, which percentage?
Probably
local stakeholders, meaning ULGs.
Yeah, stakeholders and ULGs. I mean, it's more about, it's not really that they can get the budget, but maybe, one of the, in practice, it could happen that one of the stakeholders is an association which can organize events or workshops. So basically they could be invited to be a provider for that type of service, and they are also a relevant stakeholder, and they could then be paid from the local budget. So in this way, but there's no direct payment of different stakeholders' involvement in this sense. Hopefully that's clear. Should I read this one, Villanova de Poyares?
Sure. Sorry.
With the approved projects, how will the transfers be made immediately after the approval to the leader? No. So basically, there needs to be, we have an annual reporting. So you need to advance first your budget. You need to foresee the budget in your city administration budget for URBACT activity. And then after the first reporting happens, after 1 year, you will get refunded. So you can maybe say that after 15 months altogether, you will get back the advance that you put for URBACT activity, or you spend for URBACT activities, and then you get back the reimbursement of that. hopefully that is clear. And this is also explained further in the program manual. So don't hesitate to go there to see how this budgeting and reporting and reimbursement functions in Arbat. I think we can close, and we can just let you know that there will be 2 more webinars that we will organize for you. Next one is about exchange and learning during the network journey, how to shape your exchange and learning activities. And this is the second biggest, let's say, criteria in the application or in or assessment criteria after the partnership. So I invite everyone to join this. And Francesca, any last words? Do we have?
Just that you will find the slides on the same page, or we have all other documents. So a reminder to check our website, where you will find recordings, slides, and the main documents we already mentioned. And of course, after all these, you still have questions, then write us again, then write us to this email address we wrote in the chat. And
Francesca, do you have any final hint, a tip for all the applicants? Final one.
Check keep don't lose motivation, or everything sounds complicated maybe, or I hope actually the contrary. I hope we had to lose some fears, but there is also this partner search tool. Go check there what kind of ideas have been already submitted, which other cities are out there that are interested, that could be your partners, or if you have an idea and you haven't submitted yet, do it, and you will be contacted by potential interested partners. It's a very useful tool for the moment. So go on our website and check it.
Thank you, Francesca. Very good tip. Thank you all for participating today. Hopefully it was useful, and good luck. And as Francesca said, don't lose motivation. Keep on going. Everything is possible. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.